Right. Fire away, sir.
Okay, cool. Sorry if I sounded like I didn't want you in the job by asking if it had been advertised.
No problem.
Jacques, I mean, regardless of what we may think of it, from
Sorry. Leave it open. I'll police it. Sorry, guys.
from physio to strength and conditioning to defense coach to head coach, did you, when you started out as a physio, did you ever see it happen, and what does it mean?
No, not at all. I said now when we walked in here, we won our first Currie Cup in 2005. And our team room was there where we had the press conference. Now, never would I have thought in 2005 that I would have been announced as the head coach here. So, and I'm saying it with the biggest respect. When I started out, my first thing was to be the best physio that I could be. And then an opportunity came to move over to S&C. And then I wanted to be the best S&C coach that I could be. And then again to moving over to defense. And I thought about it today. I was probably a defense coach or assistant coach for 9 years. And it wasn't, at a lot of stages, people asked me, listen, do you want to be a head coach? For me, my aim was to be probably the best defense coach that I could be. And like all the other transitions, there comes a time when you feel, listen, I'm comfortable with where I am currently at and I would like a new challenge. And that's probably what happened. And probably 2-3 years ago, when people ask me, would you consider going into a head coach role, I would say, listen, it's something that I would look at, but currently not. I'm still haven't done my defensive stuff yet. But and then there came a stage where I felt, listen, okay, that would probably be the next step for me. And I think if you look at the other pathways, coaches become coaches, assistant coaches, 3-4 years, then they go for a head coaching job. I was probably a little bit different, yeah, in terms of that.
Just, Jacques, Rossi mentioned you guys were in the army in 1990.
Yeah, 1991.
Can maybe take us back to how you guys met and just how that relationship formed? Because obviously that's a huge part of the trust between you guys that you've known each other so long.
Yeah, listen, I wanted to study physio, as that was my main role, my main focus, and the key thing was my points wasn't good enough. You know, I had a good matric year, so, and then all of a sudden I didn't get selected to study physio. So what now? And there's no gap years back then. So my gap year was listen, go into the army. Well, my parents said, listen, we can't support you. You got to earn your way. So I went into the army, and there, myself and Rassie ended up we ended up in the armored corps together. And I was in 1 SDB. He was in Panzer School or the armor school. And my friend was his roommate, and that's how we met eventually. Yeah. So that's a story about that. Then I left after 1 year, and Rassie stayed on. He was very good in the army. He was unbelievably structured, tactical, a tactician type of guy. So he stayed on for about, I'm not sure if it was another year or two, where they earned good money then, and he paid his way into his studies with it, you know. And then I met him when he joined the varsity. By that stage, I was probably my 3rd year physio. I was starting to work with Shimlas as their physio, assisting them a little bit, and that's how, not met again, but that's where we started working in rugby together again. We were still mates, you know. We have a beer together. They had a house just outside the university, so we popped over for a barbecue often. So that's probably that transition.
Just also, you guys have basically been joining from the hip since then, since he's been coaching, and something changed, I suppose, when you guys went to Munster, because it almost, we've obviously spoken to Rassie about that in the past. It's almost as if Rassie's outlook changed a bit, being at Munster, being in the European competitions, and that. And I don't know if you also, if it happened to you the same, just maybe being exposed to totally different leagues and different way of rugby. Maybe just chat a bit about that.
Yeah, I obviously going to Europe, I mean, it's quite different styles, and not only styles of play, styles of how learning gets established within a team, how you get the information across. it is easy to get information across in your environment, in your country, because we are tuned into our cracking a joke maybe gets attention from players. Where we went to Munster, I mean, the way they do things and is completely different. So you have to actually adapt your style of delivering a message, of pressing the buttons of the players, getting them up for a game. It's completely different than in South Africa. So that growth was nice, you know. So you had to find a way within a culture where your cultural differences is not, or if you are a good speaker, or it doesn't help you there. You have to find another way to get the job done. From my perspective, I can't talk for Rassie, but I mean, that was my challenge, you know. Yeah, most players in our country comes fairly hardship, so it's easy to get them up and excited, and they like the attrition battle. In Ireland, they're a lot more skillful. It's a lot more tactical. So it was a new game that I learned from the Irish, you know. And I must say, the Munster players, as much as I hope I taught them some stuff, yes, they taught me a hell of a lot. You know, they were very open from a player's perspective. I was very blessed in having a very good a group of players, in terms guys that play British and Irish Lions, guys that have 60, 70 tests for Ireland. So, and yeah, they were very, very good in teaching us a few tricks as well. So it was probably, for me, that was one of the nice things, you know.
Defence coaches, I mean, I think all we know about them is that they're a pretty intense lot. If you look at guys like Minami, Normie at the Stormers,
yeah.
Yourself, I've heard. We don't know much about you. That's one of the weird things. You've been around forever. I mean, I've known you since 2004.
Yes.
No clue about your family life. No clue about what your interests are. All we know is you either the guy that was a physio, the SNC, or the defence coach. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, I preferred it like that. So that's why this is probably completely out of my comfort zone, and something that I felt this is probably the next step for me in terms of developing myself as a human being, developing myself as a coach. I preferred, Andy said today, the first time I met him when I was with the Box in 2011, going to the World Cup. My first thing was, please don't put me in front of the media. I don't want to be in the media. I would like to see me a similar role than a guy like Wayne Smith. If you know, Wayne Smith was with the All Blacks for years, but he was never probably the front line guy in terms of media, more at the back role. And the nice thing of that, you can just focus on your job, you can do a lot of analysis, you can work with the players, you have time for one-on-ones and stuff like that. So that's probably how I preferred it back then. About myself, yes, I think I'm a pretty common kind of guy. I was born in Kimberley. I've got brought up in Welkom, come from an ordinary family, went to Grey College Bloem, enjoyed rugby, was never a great rugby player, but I played for the 7th team there. I was a loose forward, I weighed 63, I was an athlete, I was a long distance athlete, so completely different. And I thought about it the other day. People will say, but yes, that's a weird pathway, and I think the pathway is not necessarily being not a great rugby player at school, being a physio, being SNC. I think the thing of pathway, getting to probably, if you look at all the not top coaches, head coaches and international coaches, it's probably work ethic, passionate about the game, love the players they work with. So although our pathways are different, I don't know where like Rassie became from player the 1 year, and then in 2004, I was his SNC coach, and he was the captain of the Cheetahs. The next year, he won the Currie Cup. So everybody's got a different story to tell of how he got to where he is. But I think the constant thing is we work hard, we're passionate about our teams, we're passionate about the players that we coach. So probably, yeah, that's my background. Married, 2 kids.
Are you just your wife and your kids' names, just for record?
My wife's name is Elmarie. She's also a physio, and she still has a practice. And my son is Carlo, he's in Gim, he's a matric.
Carlo, so
Yeah. With a C. And my daughter's Lila is her name, and she is now in grade 8. Lila, L-I, L-I-L, Lila, L-I-L-A. Yeah, L-I-A-L-A. The English, my English.
So the admin's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, the admin's going to be very difficult. So yeah, they. Funny thing is, they're out of our house now. They're in boarding school at Gim and Paul. So me and my wife are currently adapting to being home alone and watching each other at 7 o'clock at night and having nothing to say, because we're not nothing to say, but we had always kids in the house, you know. So it's something to get to adapt.
Just, I mean, you've been on the round with the Bok team since 2011, and you know the pressures, and you've seen obviously the pressure that Ross has been over, and you've seen what it's done to other Bok coaches like Heineke, who went almost grey almost overnight with the Boks. You don't have any hair anymore. Are you ready for that pressure and for that sort of focus, that intense focus that fans give?
Yes, I think I'm naively ready, and I say it with the biggest respect. I don't think I understand what's going to come, and I don't think, well, I can't talk for other coaches, but I know it's going to be pressure, and I know it's going to be massive, and I think things will change like that. You lose one game, you lose a game against Georgia, you lose a game against Scotland, and all the pressure will be up on you. And will I be able to handle it? I wouldn't have taken the job if I don't think I would be able to handle it. But it's something that's probably part of the development. Probably why I would like to do this and to learn and to see how we manage that. Yeah.
When you asked the head coach in question, you said you've discussed it between the three of you at the top table. How you manage it? How will you manage it? I mean, have you got examples on the table already?
There's a few things. I think having Rassie being involved as a director of rugby is probably one of the biggest assets we have. For me, knowing the structures, I was high performance manager of SA Rugby in 2016. A lot of these players, if you think Warwick Galant, I probably coached when he was playing SA schools. He was 12 center, he came from Outeniqua. A lot of the players currently playing for us, I probably started coaching when there was SA schools. So for me, the nice thing is I've got a good relationship with them, and I've probably been part of their development, not having influence, but I've been part in how they develop. So that's the nice thing if we talk about continuity. That's one of the, although there's a lot of risks and a lot of potential risks people will see, that's the nice thing, you know, knowing the player that well, where he comes from, how he's developed, where you are currently, that's probably the one nice way of managing that risk. And obviously Rassie and having a very experienced coaching group around me. If you think Dion has been a head coach, Stocker has been a head coach, Don has been, I've worked with Don, I was his physio way back in 2004, so worked with Dion at the SA under 20. So I think the working relationship between us is very good, you know. We've been working for years together. So I think that's a nice way of managing that risk.
Thank you, guys.
We'll have